Okay, let's give a warm round of applause for Aloke Singh, CEO of Air India Express.
So going back to Air India Express, the question that you're asking, I think the airline was set up at a time when uh, everything was just about right for the LCC. If you recall, uh, we were the first international LCC operating out of India. It is around the time that AirAsia was set up in Malaysia. Fly Dubai came up a couple of years later. There were airlines in the Gulf that were set up. So we were probably there at the right time. We came with the right product. We operated in a niche market, which was a point-to-point all-economy product from smaller Indian airports directly to Gulf and the East and the Southeast Asia region. And we stayed true to that business model over the years. And I think that has been one major factor. Yes. Apart from that, I think we were very deeply involved in the local communities that we operated from. For an airline of our size, we have as many as 9 bases, crew bases. We tried to recruit our crew as much as possible from the stations that we operated from. We didn't touch the major Indian hubs. We operated almost the entire capacity from the tier 2, tier 3 cities. And even today, we are in many of the stations, we are the only operators on the international routes with an LCC model. Varanasi, for instance, Surat, for instance. Nobody else, is there in that market. So I guess that has been, part of our success. So, pre-pandemic, we were doing about 85% of our capacity went into the Gulf. But then, that's the construct of the to from India market. If you look at the top 10 markets out of India by passenger numbers, 8 are in the short haul region, so 5 to 6 hours from India. As many as 8 routes, fall there. And of those, almost 2/3 is to the Gulf. So we broadly mirrored the market construct. Of course, we were skewed a little more towards the Gulf region. But we have broadly mirrored where the market wanted to go. The only difference is that we deployed this capacity from the tier 2 cities, not from the major hubs. We do have some capacity going in from the 4 hubs, but it's really very small. Well, to some extent it did. My friend Sanjay is here. I saw him a little while ago.
Sanjay is where?
He would keep saying that you guys operate under the radar, which is true. We stayed on the niche markets. We did not get into the major hubs with deep competition. We were very nimble with the capacity because our size was small. We could very quickly shift capacity out of one market if it wasn't doing well. Being small, there has always been a can-do attitude. There are not many airlines where the head of operations probably knows each crew by name. So the small size helped us in many ways, but obviously,
Has this handicap.
Yeah. It's subscale, and you need to grow to attain the benefits of scale. Yeah. Even within Air India, I think there was a wish to see Express excel, and Express was given the freedom to do things its own way. So we were very unique in the public sector environment where every employee was on a fixed term contract. We had a high performance culture. Even today, the average age of the company is just about 30, 32 years. I mean, leave aside people like me. So these were the reasons, we were able to create a separate, almost a culture and stay away from the, the influence of the parent company, so to speak. But of course, we got a lot of initial push and help
Yes,
from
initially.
from Air
How
India.
much?
It was really a tough time, and as most people here from the travel industry would know, uh, for for us in travel and especially in aviation, it was both a demand shock and a supply shock. Uh, it was really hard for us to make through the first couple of months. But what we did was, and because we were going through the privatization process and we were undergoing the due diligence exercise, we were told very clearly that we couldn't look for any support or help from anyone, either financial or otherwise, and we had to pretty much do things on our own. When we looked around, we realized that cargo was a big opportunity for us. Uh, we were there were many airports where we were the only operators, into the Gulf and the Middle East, and we were able to very quickly repurpose the capacity that we deploy. We carried barely any cargo. We were just 2% of our top line, but we could get very quick regulatory approvals. We threw a challenge to, we didn't have a cargo organization. We built a very rudimentary setup in place. We hired some people from the cargo industry. So Kapil, business continuity was a key priority during that time, and that had many elements. One was, of course, the cargo business, which was 6-7% of our top line, during the financial year 21. But we also looked at a lot of charter business, and that is the time that we learned how to be really flexible with capacity. A lot of people are now saying that the airline business could now, at least a part of it, could now be evolving towards, aggregating demand first and then building the supply around it. And I think those are some of the lessons that
Learnings
we learned,
that came.
and that got us thinking that can we, when things come back to normal, can we actually look at shifting capacity seasonally? So now we are seriously looking at, the Gulf, Middle East, and the Southeast Asia markets. The seasonality is at the opposite ends. So can we move capacity during the year in line with demand?
Yes.
And I think we can do that very well because that's the lesson, or those are the learnings that we came out with during the pandemic. Yeah, so we've had a very profitable business model, and there is no secret sauce for that. It has been profitable because we've kept aircraft utilization high. The entire fleet flies. 26 out of 26 aircraft are flying. Asset utilization is almost 14 hours a day. Our stage lengths are, extremely long. They are 2,400, 2,500 kilometers. Most, flights operate to payload limits. So, and we have a very frugal and a, tight cost structure. So next 3-5 years, we are looking at enormous growth. You saw the numbers that have been released, the LOI that we have signed. Even if you keep the options aside, we're looking at 470 odd aircraft, of
And
which
quite aggressive induction.
aggressive induction, of which what is significant is that 400 are narrow bodies. And if you look at the nature of the market, both domestic and short haul international,
Yes.
it is skewed towards the LCC, mold. So you can expect a large part of that capacity to come towards the LCC entity. So we are looking at large growth. We're looking at new markets. We're looking at upping capacity in international market, in the existing markets, and also looking at the unlocking the synergy benefits, both between the two low-cost entities and between the parent and the low-cost